You just want to settle into that, don't you? That we're one heart, that we're one creation, that we're one life. And yet we feel in this human body, in this human mind, the individualization that we are. And sometimes we forget that we are this oneness. And we lose ourselves in that idea that we're separate. And when we lose our idea in this idea that we're separate, we forget and we no longer have the experience of joy. And so today we continue our talk, our series about living in joy, because I believe that's the essence of what life is to be. It's what we were meant to experience, what we were meant to have in our lives. And so as you think back, we talked about this idea of knowing who you are, that you are one with the infinite, that you are the perfection of the divine, expressing and experiencing itself right now, always have been, always will be. And as that expression, we know that there's a power within. Because if you're one with the divine, there is a power within you. That same power that created this cosmos is the very power which you are using each and every moment of every day. And then we talked about to have a new experience, we had to go into the world of imagination. And we had to go into that imagination and see something different, see something beyond what we've experienced up to this time, up to this point. And we had to embody that imagination. And now we come to the idea that here's the next step in that creation process, and that is we have to choose. We have to choose what is that next element, what is that next way of being, what is that next mountain we want to climb, so that we now can make that choice. And you see, when we make a choice, it's not something that's half and half. It's not something, well, ho hum. It is a decision. And when there is a decision made, there is no turning back. You see, when there's a decision made, you cannot go and turn back. You've decided, you've left away all possibility of anything else ever happening. The decision when I left the corporate world in 2004 to pursue a ministerial path, I left no choice that I could go back to that. I committed myself 100% into this new idea of serving people, helping people find their own glory, find their own light, and watch them, support them, and help lift them to empower themselves into a purpose-filled and joy-filled life. There was no choice. And for a while, the mind kept playing with you. I mean, it just played with me saying, well, you're one of the unemployed. I kept saying, I don't have a job. I don't have a job. And I'm working 60, 70 hours a week doing what I love. But you see, I had built such a habit of thought, I couldn't escape from that. I was literally a prisoner to my past. That's what I want to talk about right now. When we focus on our past, no matter what it is, we are prisoners to it. We have locked ourselves into the experience of our past, and we cannot go and we cannot be anything more than what our past was. So the idea is we've got to say, yes, the past was there. Yes, it was great. Yes, it wasn't so good. Yes, there were lessons I learned. Yes, I want to take things away. And we've got to just let it go. Because the past is a prison. There is no good that comes from continually focusing on the past. If I focused on the most magnificent prom night I ever could imagine, which I had, I would be denying myself the right of living a new night right now. You see, I would be stuck into a memory from the past. If I would go back and say, well, this was so great, I'm stuck there, I'm not expanding, I'm not allowing myself to come out of that memory to go and create something beyond. You see, when we talk about that we are the individualizations of the infinite, that means we are here to create. We're not here to live in melancholy past. We're not here to have deja vu all the time. We're here to go and to expand. And one of the things in the 60s and the 70s when these hallucinogenics were popular, the reason why they were pushed down so much is the mind expanded beyond what consciousness wanted you to be able to see or the society wanted you to see. You were going beyond that, seeing things that were possible. And the idea now is we've got to come and we've got to release society's hold on us. The society of our school system, the society of our parents, the society of our friends, the society of our neighborhoods, the society of the United States, the society of the world, the society that we've created and locked ourselves into with our own past so that we can go beyond what they want us to be and become what we want to be. See, that's the key thing to expressing an infinite life, a life with oneness. It's to go beyond and create something unique. We were not brought here to be like anyone else. We were brought here to be individuals. And the key thing is we have to decide that we're an individual, that we are no longer going to play by others' rules. We're going to say, I set the rules, and the rules are this. Whatever I put my mind on and focus on, continually, effortlessly, and easily, I will create that. You see, the past has made us who we are today. So the experience we're having today is a result of our past. But what we decide and think about now creates our future. So if we stay locked into where we are, tomorrow will be a cookie cutter of today. And the same thing will continue and continue and continue until we take the onus, when we take the right, the privilege, the joy, and we say no more. We don't allow other people to create our lives, because when we do that, what are we doing? We're giving away our power. You are all powerful creators. Your lives are exactly what you choose it to be. You have the power to change it in this moment, in any moment, just like everyone on this planet. Everyone has the same power. It's an innate ability. People have become numb to the idea that they have this power, and they allow themselves to pretend that they're not it and that they're victims. See, anytime we have a feeling of victimhood, it means we haven't decided to step into our greatness. Anytime we feel we're a victim to the economy, we're not stepping into our greatness. Anytime we're a victim to our partner or our girlfriend, our boyfriend, our children, our mothers, our fathers, we haven't stepped into our greatness. We have given our power away to something outside of us that doesn't really exist. Because the only thing we're giving away is the creative power within us. We put it on hold. We've locked it in a repeat. Did you ever get a song on your iPod or on your iPhone or whatever you're listening to, and you put it on repeat, and that song goes over and over and over and over, and after a while, you don't want to hear that song again. It gets really boring. That's the same thing we do with our lives, because we don't make the decision to be different. We don't make the decision to see something different. You see, when we make the decision, we've got to realize that we're free. We're free of any limitations: age, race, sex, past, where you live, what you do. You're free of that when you release the past and you focus on something new, something different. We can take a relationship that we're in with someone right now, and if we focus all of our intention, decide we will have a completely unique and different relationship, we can make that happen today. That's how powerful we are. But you see, there's got to be a belief in it. You've got to build a thought process that's over and over and over again, because what is creating our lives? It is our unconsciousness. It is the subconscious mind where most thoughts exist, because in any time, we are having zillions of thoughts going on. If you think about how is this body temple functioning, all the functions within it, are we conscious of everything that's going on in our body? How many cells are being replaced in every moment, and how this function is happening and that? We have no clue of that, but our subconscious does. And our subconscious is constantly doing that. It has a habitual way of thinking, and it's creating through that habit. And so we have this ability as humankind to consciously think. And as we consciously begin to think, we start putting new thoughts into the subconscious, and now we're shifting the habit of the subconscious, which is the creative power that we are. And as we constantly shift and build a new subconscious, our experience has to start shifting and demonstrating. Does that make sense? Because what we are is we're victims to our own mind, and we're not knowing we're victims to our own mind because we say, well, I'm thinking this, but we don't realize there's this vast reservoir of unconscious thought that is really the creative essence of who we are. So what we've got to do is we've got to find a way to make a decision to say, no longer will my unconsciousness create my experience. I am choosing to live differently, to live greater, to be more joy. So I now am going to plant new thoughts in there, and I'm going to change it because I have that right. It is my essence. It is my life. Are we conscious of our choices? Probably not. I would say if we sat back and we did an analysis of all the things that we've chosen, most 99.99% of them we've never been conscious of. We didn't think about, is this truly in alignment with what I want to have? Is this truly greater? Is there a cause? If this is my cause, what is my effect? Do we ever really think that through? Very seldom. Very seldom do we think it through. And yet, we always know where there's a cause, there's an effect. And what determines a cause? A thought. A thought over and over and over again, filled with belief and conviction, filled with emotion, filled with feeling, causes an effect. And that becomes our experience in this world. So, Patty, would you pop it up, please? Here's why we were created. We were created to think, feel, decide, and act upon our decisions. This is the creative process. So when we're thinking, we're realizing that we are the infinite expressing. We are the mind of God, individualized and expressing. So as we think, we get to see all the possibilities and we embrace it. We imagine more. We're constantly moving forward. So that thought is there. And as we know we're expanding, what has to happen? Feelings are attached to it. We become so involved and immersed in this love, this ability to create that was our innate ability, that we feel these thoughts. And when we feel it so great, we make a decision, say, yes, this is what I want in my life. This is what I choose in my life. I will no longer have this. I will have this. And when that decision is made, all other possibility disappears. And then what do we do from there? We act on it. And when we've done that, we've created the creative process. We have created that, and we will live it, we will breathe it, and we will be unbounded by anything from the past, and we will be so unique. People will walk up to you and say, what's happening in your life? How come all this is going on, and yet you feel so good? You just look at them and say, because I understand who I am. And you can say to them, and I understand who you are, and you can do this too. Isn't that what the great master teacher Jesus said? This I do, you can do, and more. He was simply modeling for us that which was within him is within us. He was the great example. And Buddha, Krishna, they taught the same thing. These are great avatars who understood oneness, understood that the creative influence, the power was there. Here's the key thing. Only we can choose what we think and feel about. No one else can choose it for us. So men, if you think you can change the ladies, or women, you think you can change the men, or anyone thinks you can change anybody else, it's impossible. The only thing you can change is yourself. So when you want to be in the most loving relationship, you want to be the most abundant person, you want to be healthy, you've got to shift your thought process, your habitual way of thinking to only embody that. That's a tough thing to do. Because let's say we're looking at health as an issue. The doctors are over here, these MDs, these minor deities, and they're telling us this is the prognosis. This is the prognosis. And you've got to stand there and say, no, that is not my prognosis. My prognosis, my natural ability is health. If you're looking for more money, you've got to say, if I don't have money right now, my natural state is infinite abundance. You've got to look beyond that physical thing and see the mental image of it, fill it with feeling, and live from that. And you will shift. When you start coming from a place of such oneness, such connection, such love, and you become the love, then everyone you look at, you realize is love itself. And you will look at them differently. You will no longer judge, for you'll understand that judgment holds you from love. When you are criticizing anyone, where you're desiring someone to be different, you cannot possibly be in love. You can't ask anyone to change. You can only change yourself. That's the decision. Decision is to accept yourself. Because when you accept yourself as you are, when you decide to accept yourself as you are, you're saying, I now am responsible. I now have chosen that my past is who I am. And that's perfect, because now from where I'm at, I know I can move forward and be different because I'm going to choose that. And then we make that new choice and we put everything we've got in it. And we never look back at the past. We never bring up an event and throw it back in our own face, because doing that just brings us right back into the muck. Anyone here want to be a muck diver? Muck is not good to be in. It's stuck there. You got to wear boots like Christina's got on and back. They're like the biggest boots you'll ever see. You know, she probably came here saying, I'm going to walk through some muck before I find some enlightenment. Well, we're seeing, look at her. She's lighting up back there. She's just the joy of God. So I want to come back, is that we choose our beliefs. We may not be aware of it, but we have chosen our beliefs all of our lives. Most of it unconscious, and it's our beliefs that create. It is done unto us as we believe. So let's go with this. The process of a joy-filled life is to know what we want, decide it will happen, and act upon this decision. That's as simple as it gets. And here's the thing. You're going to do it for infinity. You're going to do it. You're not going to ever stop doing it. It's what your purpose in life is. From the beginning of time, if there ever was a beginning of time, I doubt that there was, because it's always been. And there will never be an end to time. So the expression, the individualization of who we are will always be us. We will always be using this creative process in some form or fashion, whether it's in human body or not, because the divine has to become more, otherwise it can't be the divine. You see, if it is infinite, it's got to be always going for more. And if it's infinite and we're a part of it, then we're infinite and we've got to be going for more. So we're always going to expansion, and going to expansion, that means we must be creating. See, creation never stops. If you take a musician like Gary or Alex or David, they never stop creating newness from their path, because if they did, they would be bored. And when you hear a musician that's bored, you know it immediately. You don't want to come back. If you have a partner in your life and you're in a relationship and it's the same thing every day, oh my gosh, it's boring. Then we go looking for what? A new partner. No. Change your own view. You become different. Your partner has to become different. Do you see how that works? When you become a different magnet, when you become a magnet that attracts a different frequency, you've made that decision. You'll attract differences from everyone in your life. And those things that are not a match to you can't be attracted to you, because you're no longer a magnet to it. So whatever's in your life right now, whatever you may not want there, you're vibrating at a frequency that says, give me more. And you know, sometimes that just sucks, doesn't it? But until we can accept the idea that we are that magnet, we're not embodying that we're the creators of our life and that we have the power to shift the frequency that we're putting out to the universe. And the decision I'm asking you to make today is a decision to see beyond your current life and say, I am not going to play small anymore. I'm going to choose to be this much bigger today, and this much bigger tomorrow, and this much bigger the day after. Because if we just keep going a little bit every moment of every day, by the end of a year, we won't recognize who we are. We will have expanded so great because we've shifted just 1 degree. And that 1 degree causes a huge shift in where we're going to go. The question I'm going to ask you is, do you know who you are? Do you know that you are the infinite expressing itself? And the infinite that is expressing itself wants you to play big. It wants you to be more. That's why there's this calling forth from within. It's a pulling from within. It's not your partner yanking at you saying, you come do this. That doesn't work. But when it's coming from within you, you just feel it. You just smile. When it's coming from within you and you deny it, there's extreme pain. Anytime we deny the higher expression, there's pain in us. So we have to make a decision. Do we choose to have a joy-filled life? And in choosing to have a joy-filled life, do we understand that our emotions will guide us in that? Our emotions will tell us if we're on the path or we're off the path. And so if we made the decision, then we're going to listen to our emotions. And then when emotions are negative, we're going to go back to our imagination and we're going to explore something different than what we're currently expressing. And when we get that imagination in place, we're going to go back and we're going to say, oh, I'm the individualization of God. And the power that to do that is within me. I don't have to doubt it. Here's the key. When you know who you are, there's nothing to fear. When you know you're one with the infinite, there's nothing to fear. It's only when we don't know who we are that fear can come into our lives and be our experience. Because what's the worst thing going to happen to you? You're going to die. And what is death? It's birthing into a new expression of God. It is not the end like we've been brainwashed. You see, we've been put into this atmosphere called fear because in fear we can be controlled. Does that make sense? In school, they put fear into your mind because if you don't do this, you're going to get this grade as far as conduct, or you're going to be sent home, or you're going to have demerits, or you're going to get detention. In business, there's fear there. If you don't behave according to these rules, we're going to let you go. In relationships, if you don't follow what I want, well, I'm not going to love you anymore. You see how everything is based on this thing of fear because it's the only way that we can be controlled is if we buy into the illusion. What if we bought into the truth that we all can express freely, easily, infinitely, imaginatively, and yet be together in harmony? Celebrating life, celebrating each other, collaborating as one. We do it individually, but collectively we come together and we raise everything. You see, the idea that we have to compete is an illusion. I believe, as Gary sung, if we are one, we have to collaborate and realize that there's nothing, or realize that there's an infinite source. There's not a shortage. Do you see that? There's never a shortage in God. There's never a shortage in the infinite. There's only the infinite. And when we can embody that, we realize that if I do this, money will flow. If he does that, money will flow. Guess what? There's an infinite amount of money. Do you know how I know that? The government's printing it every day. The government doesn't know any bounds. They keep printing more money. So in your mind, if you print more money in your mind, what's got to come to you? More money. If you want more love, create it in your mind. It's got to come to you. You want more joy, create it in your mind. It's got to come to you. You want more loving relationships, create it in your mind. You want more health, see it in your mind. But the key thing, you've got to choose it. And are you a man, a woman? Are you an individualization that has the chutzpah? I want to say kahunas. And I said it on tape. You got to have the kahunas to make that choice. Because until we make that choice, nothing changes. We will be in a repetitious cycle that will never stop. But we can stop it right here and say, this cycle now ends, and I choose to be the greater me. I'm looking at you. I see who you are. You are the oneness of God. You're perfect just as you are. And you can have anything you choose. Choose wisely, my friends. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.